Kelly's going to lead us in a time for all ages.
This book is called The Story of the Father, Son, and the Mother Earth. You can see the sun in the sky reaching its rays down to the earth. Long ago, in the time of our ancestors, the powers of darkness held the land in its icy cold death grip, and food was scarce. But the people kept their hope alive, and they believed that they would be saved from starvation. And then on the darkest day, the winter solstice, a star was born, and the people rejoiced and held his name as Sol. He was the sun. And as the months passed, Sol and his light became brighter, and he grew higher in the sky. And from way up in the heavens, he could see down to the earth. And he could see that she was a beautiful maiden, frozen asleep in the icy land. And her name was Gaia. And seeing Gaia filled Sol's heart with love, and he became a warrior of the rainbow. And he rose in the sky and shined his light longer than the darkness until it was defeated in the springtime. And now his true clear love warmed her and kissed her, and the light energized her, and she awoke and became alive with the flowers of all the colors of the rainbow. And Gaia also fell in love with Sol, and they were married in the lush Garden of Eden. And she was this beautiful princess bride, dressed in a green velvet with a wreath of flowers in her brown hair, and he was her handsome Prince of Light. And Sol rose ever higher, and he was crowned the High King Solomon of the summer solstice, and Gaia was his fertile queen. And soon all the seeds within Gaia sprouted and blossomed, and Sol became the Father Sun, and Gaia was the Mother Earth. And together they nurtured and loved and grew in abundance of life. And as they grew old and wise in the fall, all the people enjoyed their abundant, bountiful harvest of fruits and wine and corn and bread, and celebrated their thanksgiving for it all. But their happiness was not to last, because Kronos, Father Time, brings all things to an end. And Sol grew tired, and he became weaker and weaker. And without Sol's light and warmth, Gaia grew old and withered, until finally she was buried in the ground. And in his sadness, Sol sank low in the sky and became still, and he appeared to the people to be dead. And the people were afraid, because they knew that they could not live without the sun. But the sun spirit was not dead. And after 3 days, its fire, heart, and spirit was reborn. And the people rejoiced as the sun began to rise in the heavens again. And that's what happens every year, over and over again. And there they are with the Christmas tree with the star at the top. As you might have just noticed, the sun in the story became personified, which means to give something human-like qualities. And throughout time, the sun has had many names in many cultures. And this chant we're about to do is several names of the sun, to realize that the light is beyond names. The light just is. And humanity doesn't need to argue over names. We can all just appreciate it for what it is. To speak to you today about reconnecting with the light. And I'd like to just start by a short poem, and it's called Warrior of the Sun poem. We choose our words as swords of thought, for in the mind the battle is fought. For as we think, we come to do, change our beliefs and our reality too. Through peaceful actions, without fear of the night, warriors of the sun shine sun wisdom of the light. Aten, Amen, Awen, Om. Those are all endings of prayers in different cultures as well. You can hear the similarities. Today I've come to talk to you about becoming one with the light. To reawaken mankind to the powerful and unifying symbol of the light. Unfortunately, modern man has become physically disconnected with nature and the sacredness of the light of the sun. Major religions have marginalized it, and most people no longer consider their lives to be dependent on the light. Most people think that food comes from the store or from the farmer. Most people think that the heat for our house comes from the furnace or the power plant. They've forgotten that the sun and the earth have come in the garden and grew all that we need. They've forgotten that the sun and earth have grown our food. They've forgotten that the sun and earth have grown the wood for our houses. So in a sense, the sun has provided the structure for us. They've forgotten that the heat that is burned for the fire is the wood that came from the sun and the earth. They forgot that the oil down beneath the ground is ancient sunlight that grew and decayed and was reabsorbed into Mother Earth and compressed and put down below the ground. Now it is true, the ultimate infinite mystery made the sun and earth. But the sun and earth are the representations of the light and the dark. And seeing them as representations of the ultimate mystery can unite men and allow men to stop arguing over the words of the true name of God. It allows a diverse rainbow of people on the earth a direct and living connection with the divine design of the all. But what is the light, and how can we reconnect to it spiritually? Well, if you ask a scientist what the light is, they will tell you that it is a giant ball of chemicals 93 million miles away, and that it takes 8 minutes from the light of the sun to reach us here. But whatever the light is, it is fundamental to the infinite mystery. Because when we look in a night sky, we see billions of suns, and we call them stars. But light is not white. The light is crystal clear. And when we shine it through a crystal or a prism, we see the 6 colors of the rainbow. And when you shine light through like a fine mist of a hose or in a waterfall, you will see the true form of the light is a round rainbow. It's not a rainbow. In antiquity, it was called the glory. The glory of the light. The glory of God. And the word God sounds like good. It's one letter different. It's connecting with the goodness and good intentions. And interestingly enough, we as humans, the one thing in this existence that we are not permitted to look at is the sun, or we go blind.